I think one of the most like insidious things about the conflict is the idea of having ununiformed combatants. Like, do you agree with me on that? Like, people
That's a
that aren't.
problem.
Yeah, that's a problem, right? And then also having people who are fighting a guerrilla warfare style of war. I think that we can all agree that that's pretty terrible, right? Like, guerrilla warfare, fighting an army without being uniformed, hiding, is
Well,
that it's pretty insidious, right? So, I mean, we're condemning this in all cases, right? Like, you should never fight ununiformed. Right? You shouldn't, like, I'm saying Hezbollah and Hamas, they shouldn't be doing this guerrilla warfare,
get
targeting citizens, right? Right, and so then I guess like if we're going to condemn this as like terrorism because they're fighting civilian populations, they're also combating people without wearing uniforms. They're hiding in like schools and different areas. Like, isn't that kind of what the founding fathers did when they were fighting the British?
No. No. And, no! You ignorant person! The Continental Army wore uniforms. Just about everybody on both sides of the war wore uniforms. There were people who didn't wear uniforms on both sides, but even the irregulars, the militia, the rangers, they wore uniforms when they could get them. Even the aboriginals, who fought on both sides, wore red and blue clothing, when they could get it, to show which side they were on! You know, there were battles fought in the American Revolution. Actual battles, field battles between soldiers on both sides in uniforms in open country, not hiding in people's homes. Battles like, Saratoga, Concord and Lexington, Yorktown, New York. You know, here's the point where I'd say something like, did you go through the entire U.S. education system and completely miss all of that? Except it is very obvious that you have in fact gone through the entire U.S. education system and missed all of that! Now, there were some really horrible people on the rebel side. Judge Lynch springs to mind. And there were horrible people on the other side, too. No one side has a monopoly on assholes. But to compare the American rebels with Hamas and Hezbollah is, well, I would be completely supportive if the Daughters of the American Revolution, for example, sued you for slander. And that's all I got to say. Thank you, everyone who's watching this. Have a good night, and God bless.